No, there's a technical issue. Yes, the microphone wasn't on. Sorry that we... I just realised as you said it, Pete. Yes, sorry, we got held up. We had a few technical issues, and but we're going to get underway regardless. So, firstly, attendance and apologies. I don't think we have anyone missing. Certainly haven't. Nothing's been raised. No, we're all here. Leave of absence, nothing there. Confirmation of minutes. Do I have anyone who's happy to? Thank you, Councillor Tozer. Councillor Gates seconded. And hang on, Councillor Gates. No, Councillor Fowler. Thank you. Yes, you can't second it, Councillor Gates. Yes, and you keep convincing me because you're so sure about it that I think. That's all right. Thank you for your willingness. Seconded, Councillor Fowler. Okay, we take the vote on that. All those in favour, that is carried. Thank you. Committee forward planning schedule. Just one thing to highlight there, that the Southport CBD report is actually going to be moving to the 29th of October. So just wanted to point that out, and that's just due to stakeholder consultation that needs to be undertaken just to make sure that we get everything done properly. So that was just one thing to point out to everyone. So with that information in mind, any other questions on the forward planning schedule? 5.1. Moved. Thanks, Councillor Young. Seconded, Councillor Tozer. All those in favour? That is carried. 6.1, Nature-Based Tourism Programme update. So round 2 of the funding recommendations. Got Alton here. We've got Mel here coming out as well. I do know that... who's actually going to kick it off? You, Alton? Yeah, Alton's going to kick it off. All right.
Good afternoon, Chair and Councillors. Here to present to you today on the next round of the Small Grants Program for Nature-Based Tourism. Before I start, just like to pass on the apologies from our panel chair, Paul Donovan, who's overseas at the moment. He asked me to pass on his apologies and to let you know how supportive he is of the program and the outcomes that we're putting to you today for your decision. So what we will do, we'll cover off today I guess a little bit of progress around the first round. So as you'll recall, councillors, that was last year was the first round of the Small Grants Program. It's still fairly early days in terms of the total assessment of the success of the program, but we're trending very, very positively, as we'll have a look in the presentation today. And then, as I said earlier, we'll look at this next round of the Small Grants Program. And just to remind you, these are under $100,000. Which defines the level of those small grants versus the large grants which are coming to you in a later round. Also a reminder, councillors, that the Nature-Based Tourism Program objectives are these ones before you, and it's around building capacity in the community, in the tourism industry, for this emerging sector of nature-based tourism, which we're seeing globally become very, very important. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Mel, who's going to tell you now about the program, touching on the round 1 projects first. Mel.
Thank you, Alton. Good afternoon, councillors. So last September, So last September, Council endorsed $550,000 across 13 projects, leveraging 45% in co-investment, creating a combined project value of approximately $1.19 million. So what is really exciting at the moment and encouraging is that we're seeing projects now being delivered. So a relatively modest investments are enabling local businesses to take these ideas that might otherwise have been remaining in concepts and turn them into bookable and marketable visitor experiences. We're now also seeing the benefit of supporting existing businesses and operators who are not simply looking for the next new attraction, but also helping businesses already operating in our natural areas and helping them to diversify the quality and the commercial offering. So the next few slides will show you some examples of what that investment is now enabling. So on the screen here, you can see Boomerang Hills. Those upgrades to Boomerang Hills trails has led them to a new partnership with Elevation Parks, which is now led by a renowned mountain biking park developer who also founded Medina Bike Park. Next, Wild & Co. That project has strengthened safety and live tracking systems essential for managing events in remote areas with limited mobile coverage. This has expanded the Gold Coast capacity to host adventure racing events, a rapidly growing sport in Australia. Next on the screen, you can see Historic River Mills upgrade to their commercial kitchen, which was provided as an enabling infrastructure for future growth. So that was really to meet tourism demand on their site. So they were at capacity before with their old kitchen, and with new projects in the pipeline, this was essential for future growth. Reveling. New photographic safari tours has also been delivered. So these are immersive photographic safaris. So led by award-winning wildlife photographer Craig Parry, the project included guide training, content development, and those featured tours include rainforest bird and wildlife photography tours, through to marine encounters, as well as surf safaris with Olympian bead derbage. Next on the screen, you can see Treetops Challenge have diversified their offering, and that Rainforest Futures education program is a curriculum-linked nature-based educational program with the operator capturing more midweek business. It is designed to connect students with nature through immersive rainforest canopy experiences. Harbour Town. So their new First Nations Bush Tucker and Wildlife experience is targeting international guests and is led by Indigenous guides. They're beginning at the Bush Tucker Garden on site at their newly renovated tourism lounge before continuing into the Coomba Conservation Area, where guests are learning more about the Indigenous connection to land, wildlife spotting, and those native foods and their uses. So coming soon, you can see the Gwingana. So Gwingana's Eco-Certified Wellness Retreat. That project includes projects like tree nests for group forest bathing and meditation, a healing bee hut for relaxation and meditation, stargazing silent discos to create that sense of awe and connection to land, and as well as some nature-inspired wellness trails. And lastly, on the screen, you can see the Tour Collective's new Humpback Whale and Ocean Discovery Learning Hub, which is located at the SeaWorld Cruises Terminal. That's featuring educational displays, VR experiences, a humpback whale skeleton, AV storytelling, and hands-on conservation activities. I have a video now to play which will highlight to you what the funding has enabled from the operator's perspective.
The grant has really opened up the opportunity to showcase some very unique wellness experiences here on the Gold Coast that you really can't experience anywhere else. You know, we've got the stunning beaches, which, you know, is a cornerstone to why people travel here. But within 20 minutes, you know, you've got this incredible landscape of hinterland, mountains, streams, you know, that really hasn't been widely showcased before. So I think that that is the most incredible opportunity that this brings.
the nature-based tourism grant has really helped our business grow. I think just being able to reduce, costs with having to rent in equipment has just meant, we're able to expand and do other things that we wouldn't normally be able to do.
We're looking to create better awareness for these unique experiences that are available here on the Gold Coast. We applied for the Nature-Based Tourism Grant because we wanted to help further develop some of our unique experiences here on the Gold Coast.
For me, being in tourism for the last 13 years, I've never seen an opportunity where we're seeing such alignment with the city and with the state to develop nature-based tourism.
So a formal outcome and benefits assessment is in progress now across all the 23 projects that were awarded funding for round one. So this was to give you some comfort really in that particular session on the progress of those projects to date. So that brings us to round two, which is what has been in market this year. So with a comprehensive national marketing and media campaign behind round two, the market response remains really strong. So we received 70 applications seeking approximately $3.73 million in funding from the city, representing over $5 million in proposed investments. So against that $500,000 funding pool, that is 7 times more than the funding available. So the challenge this round wasn't generating ideas. It was, again, identifying where a relatively modest city investment can have the greatest strategic impact. The quality isn't the only interesting part of round two. So now we're also seeing the nature of our potential supply pipeline diversify. So nature-based tourism for the Gold Coast isn't one particular product category. We're now seeing subsectors emerging. That goes through from trails, hinterlands, marine waterways, through to agritourism, adventure, wellness, as well as those nighttime activations. We're also seeing opportunities to encourage our visitors beyond the traditional tourism precincts and create those stronger connections between the coast, waterways, the valleys, and the hinterland. This slide here is a reminder of the council-endorsed criteria that underpins the overall nature-based tourism program, and that includes innovation and uniqueness, the tourism economic benefits, community benefit, capability and experience of the operator, environmental stewardship, as well as that cultural appreciation piece. So, given the contestability, we have maintained our rigorous 3-step assessment process that was in place from round one. So that's including relevant specialist input across areas such as environmental, planning, waterways, and cultural considerations as well. So following this, we had 24 applications progress to detailed consideration, and you can see on screen here how they progressed through that funnel. The independent assessment panel also considered various elements, including assessment outcomes, specialist advice, as well as overall portfolio before reaching its recommendations. So important to note, so we did see an uplift this time in application quality, which is likely attributed to, we also looked at the redesign of our forms to funnel more of that information that we needed. We provided the economic and business development support as well to these businesses and the applicants, and that was provided by the project team, as well as various workshops that we've been delivering to the industry across various fronts. So therefore, contestability remains really high. The panel, chaired by Paul Donovan, continues to provide that expert independent recommendation regarding investment in program outcomes. So importantly, this wasn't simply a process of funding projects from the highest numerical order or numerical score down. The project team and the panel also needed to consider deliverability, tourism potential, value for money, and what those projects collectively can deliver for the destination overall. So the recommended approach is therefore about the strength of the portfolio as well as the individual projects. So we've looked at where full funding is necessary and provides that value for money, but also where partial funding can still enable a project to proceed and not have those deliverables compromised. So this allows that $500,000 to work harder, supporting a broader mix of product types, a broader mix of locations, and a broader mix of visitor markets without compromising that delivery. So the 14 recommended projects represent the next tranche of experiences and products that can begin to move through to market. Should Council wish to discuss the individual projects now and those funding recommendations, then I'd like to suggest moving into close as there's sensitive business information.
So you have...
I might ask a question in open, so
Yeah.
if that's okay. So to what extent, I've seen the list and I don't want to talk about the list, but to what extent did we interrogate or ask about the current planning approvals for the applicants?
Yeah, so as part for small grants, these projects have to be quick activations. So they have to have their permits in place, or those permits need to be manageable within the 12-month delivery timeframe.
Right. So they have to be able to get either temporary uses or some sort of 12-month arrangement to be able to deliver the product. And
yes.
we're less concerned about the land use approval because of the quick turnaround of this program.
Yeah, that's correct.
In the bigger program, are we a bit more strict in relation to that?
So in the large grants...
Which we're not talking about today, but...
Correct. So through you, Chair. So the large grants allows 14 months in that planning timeframe, and the funding doesn't actually supersede any other, permits or DAs and things like that required. So they still need to go through the separate statutory approvals, but it just has a longer timeframe.
Cool. Okay.
Councillors, were there particular questions or information you'd like from the individual projects? In which case we will need to go into close, but if not, we can just...
Can I move to close? Is that all right?
Yeah, if you feel we need to, yeah. Okay, let's move to Councillor Toes.
So... Yes.
Well, it'd be commercial in confidence quite clearly, wouldn't it?
No, it's that
No,
one.
it's not.
It's G. But it's close enough to G.
Yeah, okay. Okay, all right, move to Councillor Tozer, second to Councillor Fowler. Take the vote, all those in favour? That is carried. We're now in open. Councillor Young, then Councillor Patterson.
Thanks. I've got a question just suitable for open session, I think. I really love this and I'm very supportive of the program, but my concern is about the Gold Coast Botanical Gardens Visitor Centre, which you know of intimately, Chairman. It's a project that we've approved, we've had designs and all sorts of things done, but it just lacks funding. And I wonder, and we're promoting tourism through this process, and the Gold Coast Botanical Gardens Information Centre, or whatever, it's Visitor Centre, would be certainly activating tourism visitation. So I'm just wondering if if Mr. Twine or Mel have got some ideas about how we might promote or enable funding for that building to be completed, that project to be undertaken.
You want to go? I was going to go, but you can go.
It wouldn't fit within this category.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Councillor Young, and through the chair. Look, it hasn't really been part of the remit of this program. This program is really to look at the private sector developers who are coming up with tourism products and to reinforce and improve, their offerings and their business processes. I take your point around the botanical gardens, but it's really a council-led activity, and we haven't focused in this program on council-led activities. So, I guess my view on it, council, would be to run it up through the next budget process. I can recall some really good designs for that centre, and I think they're still on the shelf. And let's put it up and test its merits through the next process. It'd be very complementary to these activities.
Thanks for your answer. Appreciate that, Chair.
My understanding on that one is, from memory, it was dependent. So our funding was dependent on 50% from state and feds, or state and or feds, and it was quite significant. So I don't know if the sort of money that's available through this program would really advance it much further.
Suitable.
Sorry.
It's not suitable under this program, but I'm airing it, and I think
absolutely.
It's a thing that we should all bear in mind.
Yeah,
because there's been a lot of preliminary work, there's been promises and anticipated outcomes, and it's just kind of
I think just from divisional funds alone, I've put in over 300,000 over the years into that to match whole of city funding to get it to this stage. So I agree with you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, Councillor Tozer.
Do you know how much that project is actually worth? Is it 25 million or 20 million? Or
I'm not quite sure whether that's in the
We'd have to take that on notice.
domain, actually.
Can we just ask for an update? Like a briefing note?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea from what it was last time, and it's pretty up there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Councillor Young.
So, Chairman, if you want, I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation with an addition, number 2, that we thank the panel for their efforts and contribution.
I think it's very appropriate. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. Second to Councillor Tozer. Councillor Young, would you like to speak to it?
Oh, thanks very much. Well, I think we pretty much all in unison in our support of this nature-based tourism program. It's been a good initiative, and there's definitely runs on the board. This is the second round whereby the city is using funds carefully to support small businesses and for them to activate and increase tourist visitation and spend in the city. Or there may be local people that are taking advantage of these things, but we've got such an amazing natural asset. It's good to be able to used carefully, and that's the key thing. I will ask at this point in time why we're not hearing about these, what I would consider to be grotesque considerations on South Stradbroke Island, which I've read about in the newspaper, and we haven't had any discussions about this. We haven't had any papers submitted to us, and I read about council deciding to go ahead with South Stradbroke Island, blah, blah, blah. And it's really distressing. It's really bad reputationally for the council. It paints us in a very bad picture, especially where we've had no information. I don't know who to ask necessarily, but I'm just airing a considerable concern in the context of this nature-based tourism approach, which we're trying to do very carefully. We're trying to put some controls and measures around it so it's delivering the right kind of outcome to small businesses and to the visitors and the local community. And then we read about stuff that we've not given any consideration to. It's a very poor outcome. But I've gone too much off the track. I'm happy to endorse the officer's recommendation. Thank you for your indulgence. Thank you.
Councillor Tozer, did you wish to speak as well? As a seconder? Oh, sorry, you want to speak against?
Sorry, I would like to ask for a change recommendation, but prior to that, I would like to get an answer to Councillor Young's question about why that matter hasn't come to this committee, but we've read about it in the paper. So I think it's fair that whatever the answer may be, I think that there be a answer to the question.
Yeah, but it's not anything to do
it
with this.
absolutely is.
Well, it's nothing to do with the nature-based tourism funding round.
I would say it very much is. It's been plastered on the front of the paper that this is a large nature-based tourism project initiated.
Well, that's what the paper might
council.
have said, but that's not what we've said. It's not something we've ever discussed.
Yes, there was advice, and there was, sorry, Chair, but there was input from council media on that, which was... I don't understand the issue with asking the question. The answer may be taken on notice, but we have a right to ask questions and for there to be a response to that.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't think it's part of this discussion. And in fact, Councillor Young, I didn't know how far he was going to go with that, but I mean, he wrapped it up fairly quickly. But I don't think it should have been any part of this discussion, quite honestly.
So, Chair, you're refusing the question to be answered,
no, not
is that
at all.
correct? Okay, well, can the question be answered then?
I would say it should be taken on notice. That's my view, because I don't think it's part of this committee. So I would suggest you ask a question and ask for that question to be taken on notice, because I don't think it should be discussed here, personally.
Okay, so the question's been asked.
Yeah.
Through the chair, I'll take it on notice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you want to speak against?
I had a proposed change recommendation that we change 1A to that council adopts 13 projects, and that on page 35, the one that is ranked 13th, be removed for this round, with the applicant invited to apply again in the next round.
Is there a seconder for that motion, or that changed? Well, it's actually, no, I mean, yeah. It's, no, sorry, Councillor Patterson, it lapses for, yeah. Well, are you trying to amend, or are you foreshadowing? What are you?
Shadow, thanks.
Yeah, okay, all right. Does anyone wish to speak against this motion that's on the afoot? No. Councillor Tozer, I know I could go... Sorry, Councillor Doran?
Just procedurally, do we need to have the foreshadow put up? No? Okay, thanks.
No, I didn't think we did, but yeah, Jodie's saying, well, I wasn't 100%, so I was, looking to Jodie, but yeah. I know we often do it, but I don't think there's anything that says you have to, but Jodie's saying no, so that is the case. So in the meantime, I've got...
Chairman?
Sorry, Councillor?
Isn't it necessary to know the detail of the foreshadowed motion so that you know how you're going to vote?
Well, I think we've just heard the foreshadowed motion. Sorry, Councillor Patterson has just outlined what it is to actually adopt 13 projects. And
I don't recall us not formalising it.
No, and I think if we follow the practice in our last council meeting, the Mayor did put the foreshadowed motion up before the last one.
Look, hang on. Okay, the Mayor put it up. I don't think that's he's the chair of the full council meeting and he can do that. I don't think there's, that's why I looked to Jody, because I don't think there's anything in the Act, but I wasn't sure. And Jody's saying to me, there isn't. Yeah, we can, but we don't have to. And I think we all know what it is. So Councillor Patterson has actually said to adopt 13 projects and for the other one to advise them that they reapply at the next round. So we know what it is. It might not know the exact wording, but in essence, that's what it was. Is that correct? I don't want to misquote you, Councillor Patterson. Is that? Yep. Okay. So in which case, if there isn't anyone to speak against this motion,
I'll speak against.
Right.
Thank you. I want to speak against by first of all just acknowledging that I love this program and I think that there's been exceptional work done on it and there are incredible projects in it. So I wanted to speak against to be clear on why I'm voting against. The program's excellent. I'm so excited about the delivery of these and I'm really grateful for the presentation and the work that's been done. I do have concern when there are matters raised. This for me would be the third time that Council has voted on grant applications where concerns were raised about a thing, we were informed that it was fine, and then we found out it really wasn't and it created community concern. That is why I think it would just be so much easier if, for one, where we have heard some alarming information from the local councillor that why would we not just remove that and give them the opportunity to reapply again in the next round? So that's why I'll be voting against today, but I'm a huge advocate and supporter of this program. Thank you.
I'll now go to a speaker for Councillor Tozer.
Thanks, Councillor Castro. This program has been already returning great outcomes for small businesses who are operating in a competitive and kind of unique environment. The nature-based tourism piece is something that we have had in kind of small scope for many years on the coast, but has never been a big priority. And my hope is that this couple of dozen projects that we're exploring over the past year and over the coming year will start to build a sense of momentum either on the water or in the hinterland or in a natural area, that we are a place where that sort of activity can occur. I definitely think that the perceptions of the Gold Coast when it comes to tourism are often limited to that kind of just the beach, the white sand and the theme parks, and this idea that there are other opportunities out there. We've already heard some great feedback from the successful recipients from the last program. I have very strong confidence that this new selection will also deliver some great outcomes. I do want to comment on when I mentioned the uniqueness of these businesses. Some of these nature-based experiences can at times be breaking new ground, shall we say, and operating in delicate ecosystems and environments. And those sorts of environments often lend themselves to queries. And council, manages those queries when they come up, and we do that as best we can. But every item on this agenda, I think, we've got appropriate protections in place to make sure that those queries that we receive from time to time about new offerings, are going to be addressed properly. I'm really supportive of this project, and I'm excited about us continuing to proceed with it.
Anyone to speak against? No, I'll go back to the mover, Councillor Young.
Thanks, Chair. I'll just close briefly. I appreciate Councillor Patterson's concern about a particular organisation that's listed for approval, but I'm still speaking in favour of the motion. And I'll just re-express my support for the program and thank the officers, especially Ms Tan, for her evaluation and considerable work that's gone into this. Thank the panel for their work going through the detail of 70 applications from businesses across the city, and I think we've got a good set here of 14 to further support. I'll reiterate my concerns about the other program that is not part of this agenda, we've not been privy to, and just reiterate how much that seems to fall outside of the bounds that we've expressly set up around the nature-based tourism program. Thanks, Chairman.
With that, debate's closed. We'll take the vote. All those in favour? Against?
May I have my vote recorded?
Recorded?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to 6.2. 6.2, firstly, thank you, Alton. Thanks, Mel. 6.2, Brand Gold Coast research for brand-led decision-making. And here comes Todd. Looking as dapper as ever.
Lucky me.
You're on, Todd.
Thanks, Chair. I think I have a little presentation. I don't know if it's possible to play it. If not, I can probably just tell you a story. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, councillors. And I know how busy you are. I just thought I'd take you through something. We've shown this to quite a few people, and I thought it's really important for you to see it as well. We've tried to make a distinction in our research between this mark of a quality government organization. It's trusted, it's respectable, we pay our rates to it, it's on our official documents, and then the culture and identity of what it feels like to be of this place. And to do this with a lot of research behind it. The qualitative research, those interviews that you've heard about, really led to this, the word itself having the power it does and the tension it does. But this is what we mean by brand. We don't want necessarily for anyone to think this is about a mark, that this is about either the city mark or the culture mark. This brand house, I showed you when you were kind enough to give me some time to take you through the qualitative research and what we've led with as a design system. You saw this already. This really does represent what we heard from Gold Coasters. What we had to figure out then is what is the gap between how we understand ourselves and our audiences in the rest of Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. What are they feeling about the Gold Coast and its opportunity? And what is our competitive position based on some of that research? And you're aware that this is out of that work, this is how we're using some of that qualitative research. I've spoken to you about this before, that this is a shared number, Brand Finance tallied up. They do this for companies, they do it for places, tallied up what everything we do here on the Gold Coast counts for. And every business, every organization, this government, Hada across the street, everything arrives at that figure, which is significant. We only have control over a small portion of it until we start to share something that everyone shares and understands and feels they can play with. So we have the international research by Brand Finance, as well as national research by Bastion Insights. And just to, you read through the document, I'm sure, but to take you through in as simple way as possible what we learned. A city, usually when it reaches our population, it starts to think, oh, we'll be 1 million soon, so we should dress like it. We should pretend we're just like those other big capital cities. We're serious now, so we should dress seriously. And what we've learned from our research with Gold Coasters and then with people who are most interested in the Gold Coast is we should not do that. We should hold on to the unpretentious ambition that we have. We can make some of the greatest boats in the world, but we don't have to dress up like anything that we're not. And this is why it turns out why so many people are attracted to this place, the feeling of it, the openness, the opportunity. You can build whatever you like to build in a supportive community in this place. And while we do have these priority sectors, entrepreneurship itself is something really special about the Gold Coast. You can win that surf competition one week and you can launch your tequila brand the next. And what we've understood as well from this research, and I didn't know this from doing the qualitative research with Gold Coasters, is a lot of our audiences in other places, especially across the country, young people especially, are starting to associate the Gold Coast with craft, with this quality aspect. When you have a bunch of passionate people coming here, they're not necessarily coming here with a ready-made job. They're coming here to build something, to launch something, to create something in an environment uniquely in Australia that supports that. So some of our audiences are ahead of Gold Coasters in this. They're starting to feel like, oh yeah, that's what makes this place special. And that's why we've been thinking about, with this trademark around the Gold Coaster, is this something that people want to put on their products? So we're exploring that with our business partners out there. Something that we learned from the research as well is priority markets like China, Vietnam, and the US, they don't know much about us. They know we're a city. So they understand the Gold Coast is that city in Australia, but they don't know much about us. Neither does Brisbane. And one really interesting thing is when they were prompted to understand what we do on the Gold Coast, when they understand that we have filmed Elvis or Thor or Anaconda or any of these other large films, we jump up in consideration in like nothing else. No other aspect of our economy does this work for us. So while the film sector is not our largest sector, it does the most reputation work for us. We're investable, we're sophisticated, we're mature. They want to know more about us. So
I watched Jimmy Kimmel the other night, and Leslie Mann, who's in Spa Weekend, said on Jimmy Kimmel, like, we made this film on the Gold Coast. And I was like, in the middle of Jimmy Kimmel, which is a pretty big TV show in America. It was great. But again, I don't think we didn't necessarily leverage that or snip that to say, well, and then amplify it. I don't know if we have, maybe we will, but it was pretty exciting to see a US talk show bring out the Spa Weekend, which is not a big TV show, but it was made on the Gold Coast, and they were talking about it on talk shows, which is great. And she didn't say Brisbane, she didn't say Queensland, she said, we made it on the Gold Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. And you start to see, okay, what do you do with this? When there's a chance to have a trade mission to LA, for example, even though this isn't, as I said, this isn't our biggest sector, this opens all the doors. It's a way for us to come up in conversations around the space sector, around the defense sector, around tech, and everything else we're working on. So that's what's really great about it, is it does so much work for us, and we're shooting for it anyway. And it also leads us to, this isn't just a great place to shoot a movie. The fact that we're supporting the Miami Arts Depot, it really shows this is the right kind of project, because we can take this reputation that is growing for us and try to own the pre and post-production nationally. So we're more than just a place with studios, we're a place to create, and there's so many other benefits from this. So this was really interesting research for us, and we're really trying to use it with our partners. This is a case study of Sydney. I've spoken to you before about the case study of Austin, Texas, and how the story behind Keep Austin Weird ended up being a multi-billion-dollar machine for them. And in audience segmentation, there were enough people who wanted to be weird who ended up going to Austin to launch whatever it was. So South by Southwest, that music festival, became an ideas festival for anyone who wants to launch anything weird into the world. A massive success. Sydney wanted that. They wanted, even though they're a much bigger place brand than Austin, they wanted some of that Austin story, so they paid quite a bit of money to license South by Southwest to be in Sydney. But it didn't work because it wasn't really Sydney's story. It was Austin's story through Sydney. It sort of confused people. You can imagine Sydney instead thinking, okay, what's the Sydney way to do this? Let's launch a festival out of that. Instead, they brought someone else's kind of place brand story to the city. It didn't work. They had to pay many millions, $25 million in a kill fee just to make it go away. The nice thing for us is here on the Gold Coast, our research shows we are so entrepreneurial per capita, the most entrepreneurial in the country. This story of all these people coming here, and we just had a meeting with someone right before this morning who came here because they really felt something. They wanted to be here. They're hard workers. They knew they'd make it work. That's what she said. And so she's launched a really successful business here, surrounded by others, realizing I could have gone to that other place and gotten a job. I came to the Gold Coast because I wanted to build and create something. And so we have a real opportunity to solve a problem actually for Australia. Those markets that I spoke of, they don't think of Australia as a place with this either. They think of us as natural resources, great people, fun, optimistic people, property sector, tourism. They don't think of us as inventive. They don't necessarily think of us as that place that builds rockets and tech. So this is something we can really do. We can help solve a problem for the rest of Australia between now and 2032 if we're clever about telling this very true story about the Gold Coast and its spirit. The nice thing is this story of personal transformation aligns quite nicely with our universities. When you look at the research, it's really difficult for the Gold Coast's 3 universities to compete with the big name brand universities, the Group of 8 or the Sandstone Universities as they call it here, the Australian Ivy League, what other people call it. We can use that language, but we're missing out on the real opportunity because those parents and those young people who want those schools, they're not necessarily going to choose the Gold Coast. It's other people, ideally, who are choosing the Gold Coast. And Griffith being number 2 in the world at creating and attracting Olympians, that's the story of this place. Bond and its Transformer program so that anyone, no matter what you're studying, can create a business and get support to be an entrepreneur. That's what the Gold Coast is all about. Southern Cross and its new method of allowing people to come in and keep their jobs and to be really flexible so they can launch their careers and do their study at the same time. That's the Gold Coast. So it's a way for us to look at that through that lens again of who you're becoming rather than credentialing who in your family are. And then we arrive at tourism. This is a wonderful asset that we have. We are known certainly across Australia, New Zealand, and a good half of Japan, the older crowd in Japan, as being a really fun place. And this is magnificent to have because fun is good. The problem, if it's a problem, I think it's not exactly a problem, it's just a challenge for us or something to really play with, is it's really competitive. Affordability is an issue. Often fun comes with affordability, and we can't really compete as the most affordable place anymore. And a lot of others along the East Coast especially, Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast, for example, we show up really close to each other. And the worry would be, if we're not telling a cultural story, we become another beach place. So how can we get beyond this using fun to our advantage? And the nice thing is there is a way. When you speak to Gold Coasters and when you look at our key audiences, they are starting to understand the Gold Coast as that transformative place. You can leave better. And I think I've spoken to you before about when we all go to Paris on vacation, we don't want to be Australians in Paris, we want to be Parisian. We want to act like them, live like them for a few days. So defining this and offering this, and I know you've been through just a conversation around nature-based tourism, is something we can really own, this transformative betterness. So it's not so much that's difficult to achieve, it's more how can I choose the Gold Coast and leave better? And the nice thing is this lens, and I'll get to this in a minute, but this wellness seeker lens works really well for people who might want to come for a nature-based tourism opportunity or feel better after, but it works just as well for a family who wants to be going on roller coasters, putting their phones into the bin and spending some time together that they rarely get at home in their really busy time. So knitting it together as that place where you leave better is something that's a real opportunity for us. And the real opportunity, I think, I said this by accident when a couple of our wonderful counselors was at an event recently. This is something that Gold Coasters really feel, that sense of belonging. And this is what a lot of people are looking for when they choose the Gold Coast as well. They might not have belonging where they are, but we fast forward belonging here on the Gold Coast. And that's a broad thing that we can really play with. And when you become one of us, you become a Gold Coaster for a few days, or as an investor, or even for the rest of your life, you do something really special. So back to nature-based tourism, this is the right thing for us to be thinking really carefully about and investing in, just because it broadens it and it's very on-story. It supports the research. The final point is about this word that people use in Australia a lot. And when I came here as a foreigner, I didn't quite understand why people were using it so much because I didn't know what they meant by it. And everywhere you do this research, people will say this word. And so what I tried to do in the qualitative research is, what do you mean by that? What is a uniquely Gold Coast lifestyle? What is that? And it's really cool because people here can absolutely do that. But lifestyle as a thing in itself is often tied to leisure. And the research shows that if we focus only on leisure and lifestyle when we're talking about the Gold Coast, there's a two-speed aspect to the way that we're building. It's a little bit more difficult around investment and study or business. In some markets, we're considered unserious if we focus relentlessly on that. So a way to bring it together, this is from the international and the national research. What can we do to bring it together? Is through that transformation lens again, which links to everything else quite nicely. This is what the Gold Coast lifestyle is all about. It's better. I'm different. We chose this as a family, and we were able to do things we could not have achieved if we'd stayed where we were from. Or in choosing to stay on the Gold Coast, we've been able to have opportunities we might not have had anywhere else because this is what it's like on the Gold Coast. And so that's why we're trying to, when we communicate this, or when our partners communicate this at Invest Gold Coast, for example, it's beyond, it's not just about business. It goes beyond that spiritually as well. And then just a quick note on the audience segments. Gold Coasters you're familiar with, and those are the others. The confidence seekers you read in the pack and the proof seekers, they're a little bit skeptical. And so when we're telling our story and we're working with them, we have to make sure that, for example, as parents of young people, this is a safe community. So talking about that is really important. Well-being seekers is fascinating because people define well-being so differently now. And whether it's getting up in the morning and getting out there and having that surf or meeting the sun, whatever it might be, or coming on a vacation where you leave a little bit better, it's really useful, especially for our tourism side. And the two, as you read, the two audiences who understand the Gold Coast in its authenticity, the real Gold Coast, are young people who are willing to invest. We really over-index with young people understanding what the Gold Coast is really all about, and then senior decision makers. So those are two great audiences for us to have who already understand the Gold Coast. We have a problem with kind of a mushy middle who still like thinking of the Gold Coast through cliche in some ways, but that's okay because we have these two really influential groups who understand the Gold Coast. And you've seen this slide before. We're using this research to make decisions, and we're helping our partners use this research to make decisions to try to make it as simple and compelling as we can. Happy to answer any questions if you might have any.
Fabulous presentation again, Todd. It really is, and it's something that, yeah, I think I said to you just the other day too, how we perceive ourselves and how others perceive us. It may be totally different things. It's so important to have this information, but overall, it's a good news story, isn't it? Because there are just so many positives, so many things that we've got, going forward. But yeah, I just wanted to make that comment before I opened it up for questions. But Councillor Tozer has a question or two or more.
How do I get my hand on some of those stickers?
Oh, we have stickers galore. We'll just bring you some. And Emily's putting her thumb up. We'll get you those.
Okay. I'm happy to have a T-shirt. I'm happy to wear a T-shirt proudly. But the sticker is the low-cost item I'm on the lookout.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. We're still in the mysterious phase and seeing the stickers that we want. It's great. Thank you.
Early days. Yeah.
We'll get you some. Anyone who wants some.
Are you done, Councillor Tozer? Or Councillor?
I was the only question I had.
That was it. Councillor Doran.
Thank you, Chair. So speaking of the sticker, is that a trademark of the City of Gold Coast now? Because I see them on city officers' phones and tablets. And is it a trademark? Have we trademarked Gold Coaster? Because we are using it. It seems to be using. I'm looking at the director's laptop right now.
Yeah, we're in the process of trademarking it. It's really difficult in Australia to own your place name, like Gold Coast dot. You can't. We've tried to trademark it. You can't. The Australian government, IP Australia, does not want that to happen. However, we're in the process, and by creating a font, which is an invention, and making the word one word instead of two words, we're trying to show that it's more than just the place name. We're trying to create something special as a trademark so that you can put on something and we can own it and protect it. We will treat it like a trademark even if we don't get the legal authority to do so. So we will protect it. But your answer is yes, it's owned by all of you, all of us, and that's how we're treating it as a public asset and a mark of this place.
Thank you. Second question is the city that says yes, or the city said yes. Have you had? It's been rolled out a little bit, obviously, before today. Have you had much feedback about that? Personally, had some mixed feedback, but some positive, some not so positive. But I'm just curious as to whether or not the brand Gold Coast entities had other more formal feedback through your consultations.
Thank you, Councillor. It was not a good day when that was on the front page of the newspaper saying this is our new brand. That's not how we intend this work to be. Without any context, it's really difficult. It is typically Gold Coast that our enthusiastic, cool friends at Invest Gold Coast just started using it as a positioning line. I mean, it's a part of the story you saw in that brand house. It's a phrase, and we heard it from Gold Coasters when we were doing it. And the default here often is yes. Gold Coasters told us in the research where I was from. I was told no. I wouldn't fit in. I couldn't make it. I didn't go to the right school. I didn't have the right network. Here, I don't feel that way. It's about what I'm building, and I feel like people are encouraging me and supporting me to get there. And of course, that's one way to see it, and that's the way we intend it. There's of course a business side too for Invest Gold Coast, where the default, not everything's yes, but we want to be an enthusiastic partner to get you to yes, and to see this city economically and socially and culturally as that place where you can achieve it. So that's how we're using it. That's how they're using it. And I think in business settings, it goes really well. We had an example just yesterday where Emily and Antonio, two of our staff members, were meeting with someone whose actual business is like, we have to slow things down here on the Gold Coast. But when they heard the story of why this is the way it is, they absolutely understood it and liked it. So if we have the opportunity to put it in context, and that's what our website, the storytelling machine that we're building is all about, then I think the feedback's usually great. I had a workshop earlier this week, my first really bad heckler, where came up and spoke to me afterwards. She hates that phrase. She despises it and told me why. I was able to speak to her a little bit around it, but I think you're right. If you feel like the Gold Coast has been moving too quickly and you see that phrase out of context, I think you can have an emotional, instinctive reaction, and I'm sad for that. But hopefully we give people a chance to let this grow and breathe and be part of a wider story.
Thank you, Todd. No other questions? Councillor Young?
So just dealing with the recommendation, Chairman.
Yes.
I wondered if we want to leave it as it is. It says council notes, Brand Gold Coast and so forth, or do we want to endorse this?
Welcome it.
I don't know. Was it a rhetorical question, like you'd like to move to endorse?
Some input to that? Because I'm presuming this is your wording, or maybe it's the director's. It just says, our recommendation is that council notes. Now, council's going to adopt this, and then they will just adopt that council notes, blah, blah, blah. I think we should be getting them to endorse this. We need to own this.
Right.
Well,
Endorses.
Motion to endorse.
yeah, I'm quite happy with endorsing. Absolutely. I'm very supportive of it. I think it's a great report. But, yeah. Any concerns from any members of the committee there? We're all happy to go. Yeah, okay. That's good. Well done, Councillor Young.
Thank you.
Okay. With that change, do you want to speak to it, Councillor Young?
Just briefly, I love the Gold Coast. I'm really proud of it.
That was pretty brief. Yep. Okay. Anyone want to speak against and say how much they don't like, the Gold Coast and being here? No, I didn't think there would be any, but you never know. Okay, just someone who wants to be a rebel. No. Okay. Okay. In which case, we would take the vote with that change that council endorses. I like that. Well done. All right. All those in favour. That is carried. And it's unanimous, yes. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Council.
Okay. Item 6.3, Invest Gold Coast project updates. Okay, we've got Michael. Michael's here. Is there anything that anyone wants to ask Michael?
Yes. I had a question. I'm not sure whether I need to go into closed. On page 114, the third project noted. Yeah, that's great. Could you? When will council receive? It says that you're providing advice to the city. When does council see that advice?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor, and through you, Chair. Councillor, at this stage, I believe that's scheduled to come up at the November Special Budget Committee.
I just have one question actually for Michael. Michael, have we got any update on the NFL project at all? Because it's been a while since we've seen anything on that. I thought if you have got anything you can share, you may not have, but yeah.
Yeah, Chair, I do. I can probably provide a little bit more detail if it is enclosed, just due to some of the sensitivities around it, and I'm happy to do so. I'm happy to give you guys an update, but yeah, probably best done enclosed.
Okay, all right. I'm happy to move us into closed, if that's the case. Councillor Tozer seconded. Yeah, all those in favour? Sorry, I should say what it's for. Well, yeah, for commercial in confidence. Yeah, all those in favour? That is carried. Streaming is back on. This is just a simple matter of noting, I think, from memory. Yes, it is. Councillor Tozer, yes. Councillor Fowler, seconded. Councillor Tozer, nope. Okay. Councillor Fowler, nope. All right. Councillors, take the vote. All those in favour? That is carried. There's nobody against. All right. Councillors, we move on to, from memory, let's have a look. I think there are 3 closed session reports. I don't believe we've actually got presentations. I think, or I'm quite happy just to open it up for questions. So we need to move into close for the following 3 for the reasons there on the screen, but the matter involves local government budget and negotiations of a commercial matter which could prejudice the local government. So move to closed, seconded. Councillor Doran, thank you. All those in favour? That is carried. Okay. First item, we need to go to closed session item 7.1, brand Gold Coast. Performance reports, I'm happy to move that. Councillor Souza, I think, seconded that, yes. Yep. Okay, yeah, just take it as read, but actually, no, it was, yeah, no, take it as read. Take it as read. Okay. Take the vote. All those in favour all those in favour of the resolution on the screen, that is carried. 7.2 was the Q4 performance report from Invest Gold Coast. A mover for that, I think Councillor Tozer.
Yep.
And seconded Councillor Fowler. Councillor Tozer, anything to say on that? No. Okay. We take the vote. All those in favour? That is carried. And finally, 7.3 is Experience Gold Coast, move Councillor Young. Let's get Councillor Marshall on the scoreboard. Why not? Seconded Councillor Marshall. All right. Councillor Young, would you like to say anything?
As Mr. Warren just told us, it's 3 years since we established Experience Gold Coast, and I think it's been a great adventure. I think it's delivered terrific results in a coordinated way for the city, whether that's education or tourism or events. It's been a really sustained effort, and I'm very grateful for the fact that we've got Mr. Warren at the top. He's proven to be a tremendous asset for the city and the team that he's got around him. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And through some rather challenging economic times as well, I think they've performed mightily well. So, yeah. Anyone else wish to speak either against or for? No? Okay. In which case, we would take the vote. All those in favour? That is carried, and I will call the meeting to a close at 15, well, it says 15:27, but it's actually 15:25 because that's 2 minutes fast. But I'll leave that to Jody and Anya to decide which one they want to go with. Split the difference. Go 15:26. There we go. Thank you.